Welcome back, everyone, to the LEC. We're very excited to welcome Wunder to the analyst desk to quickly talk about their win and preview Rogue versus G2 as well. Hello, Wunder. Congratulations.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. If you don't mind, I'd like to talk a little bit more about your season overall than about this particular game. But just so we have it covered, you did drop a game to XL last time. So what was the strategy going into this one?
I mean, I don't know if you had like any strategy in particular, but of course this was like a frustrating game, I guess, for me personally, because I was giving him like the shy peak J Season 8 treatment at the top lane. But then I think, like, I don't know, there was a lot of random fights going on that kind of made Camille catch up again, and we didn't play like too well this game. I think this was one of the outliers where we kind of went back to how we played the first couple of weeks with a lot of random face checks, a lot of random fights with like no thought behind it. But I think this is something generally we've been pretty good at avoiding in our recent games. So maybe this was just a one-off. And yeah, I mean, going into playoffs, I'm confident that we'll play better than this regardless.
Okay, well, even if you have those mistakes, but you're able to win the game, that is, of course, not all bad news. I'd love to, of course, talk to you about the Misfits game yesterday specifically, because I can imagine that's really a thorn in your eye. How did you, as a team, talk about what happened in that game?
I mean, there's a few people, of course, who didn't like. They're not used to fighting for first, I guess, in the split. But a lot of these games always happen, like all these random throws. There's always going to be one. I mean, if it's the second last game of the split, or if it's like in the middle of the split where you throw like a crazy lead, for example, like G2 did against Misfits, or basically just any other game, right? It always happens. It's a BO1, and we still have a game. I mean, we still had a game today, right? So we couldn't really. It's not like we should be too frustrated about what happened in the game. It was also a very simple, like, over chase into Jinx, gave her resets, gave them dash, and then the game is suddenly even again. And with all the pauses that threw us off, it was pretty easy to just shrug it off and go into the next game.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And as you say, it happens to any team, and you still have kind of a cushion of protection. And now you won this game, so you're still in the race for that #1 spot. So now let's talk about the final match of the spring 2022 season: Rogue versus G2 Esports. If Rogue wins if Rogue wins this game, they will be the first seed going into the playoffs. And Fnatic fans would love a G2 win, though, because that would lock you in to first place, Wunder, which is kind of poetic, seeing your ex-teammates. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think G2 is the better team, and I think they should win. But of course, it's a BO1. Rogue has been pretty strong this regular split, or maybe not like in the later half of the split. But anything can happen, right? I still believe in my boys in G2 that they're gonna pull through.
They've been ramping up, Niski. Yeah. Do you agree with Wunder?
Yeah, I think G2 will be. I already said it. I think they will be the team that will join Fnatic in the finals. It's my prediction, at least. I don't know what you think, Wunder, but I feel like G2 has been playing way better, and I think Caps also has been proving that he can still be at the top in EU.
Yeah, I mean, I think G2. I mean, it's also G2 was always really strong. I think they had like a lot of weird picks, which also makes them good, of course. This is also like always what made G2 good. They're willing to like experiment during the split, find out what works for them. But I think when like their serious mode kind of turns on and they want to win a game, I think they are for sure up here with us amongst like the best in LEC. And I think Rogue, I mean, they have been falling off quite a bit. And of course, in theory, it would have maybe been better for us to be third place. So we either play Rogue or Misfits, because I think G2 right now is for sure with us the two best teams in top 4. So it's going to be interesting for sure. I wouldn't mind playing against them. You have to play against any team at any point anyways. And there's double elimination, right? So if we play against them, if we get second place, or if we play against them in the finals later on, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, it would be really fun to see that matchup. I do want to come back to kind of the Rogue point you made, and why is it that you don't, I guess, aim or not see them as highly or getting that far necessarily in playoffs?
I think a Rogue thing was something they always do in regular split is that they get a lot of wins from just playing the really good late game comps. They have like a lot of Jinx wins, a lot of Victor wins, and maybe something as a contrast For example, if you look at Vitality, they rarely play these champions. They are really struggling. They like to play the Yasuo, Diana, Renekton, something that works maybe better in scrims because you get a lot of early kills. There's a lot more action going on. There's dives that are not being prevented as easily and stuff like this as on stage. But Rogue just sits back. Of course, they have Malrang, who is like who is active in the early game and they can win early game. Like they're not a bad team by any means, but I think most of their wins against most teams come from like their Victor, their Jinx, their late game champs that are not going to be as potent, I guess, in playoffs because a lot of teams are going to be playing the same way.
Yeah, I agree. I think Rogue will be one of the teams that you can really analyze and just kind of counter their playstyle, because I feel like they only have like one dimension where it's like Larsen on control mage, Malrang on ganking jungler, helping his lanes, and I feel like they've that it really helped them in best of ones. But I think once best of fives will come, I think other teams will catch up to them easily.
Maybe we'll get to talk to them in PGL and ask them a few questions about that. Wonder, I'd also love to know what you think about Vitality and their chances in playoffs. Of course, they just made it, and Perks is, of course, there. What do you think their possibilities are and maybe their issues?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, right, that draft is probably the number one issue. For sure, because of that draft, I don't know if they're like missing like some cohesion or confidence or something in each other because they are in the spot that they're in, right? I'm not sure what goes in like within Vitality, but I think like for sure that draft was the number one problem. Yeah, and as opposed to Rogue, I mean, they played a lot of stuff where it's a lot of individual players that have to make the plays, and they can't just win by sitting back and not doing anything. So they always have to look for something, and if it backfires, it's really hard for them to bounce back into the game. But I think, I mean, that they're playing Excel in playoffs, right? First match, and they should be able to beat them. I don't think Excel has like much going on for them. Like they're not as good as Rogue as playing at the late game, and they're not as good as, for example, like a G2 or maybe even a Vitality at playing like the other side. So they're just kind of there, I feel like. So that should be a win for Vitality, but who knows?
Who knows, indeed. Anything can happen. There's also 3 weeks between now and then. Thank you very much, Wunder, and good luck in the playoffs.